It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
I want to kind of pivot because there are some things that you just can't do the action right now. You've gotten yourself in this situation, and reacting could be the worst thing you could do for yourself. But I do want you to recognize when you're in this moment of a downturn, in this moment of a crisis, there are things that I want you to put yourself on the spot with to create a homework list for the future that you will promise yourself you'll never, ever, ever get yourself in this situation again.
This is essentially, again, we're pulling on the experience we have from past downturns to figure out as you move through this, what should your after-action review uncover?
So let's jump in, and I'm going to be a little self-deprecating on this first one.
Okay.
Number one is knowing the value of having cash. And there's probably a lot of you right now that are experiencing this, is that you're like, oh my gosh, the market's down. All that liquidity I had in the stock market, I don't want to touch that now because they're all down 20, 25, 30, 35%.
Yep.
I can't touch that.
Yep.
And you're realizing, I need cash. Cash makes me sleep better at night. So here's the thing I would tell you. In 2008, I had this house down in Georgia that had 6 figures of equity. It had so much equity that the banks were sending me notifications, hey, no cost closing, no income verification required, and we'll just give you a checkbook, we'll give you a debit card, it doesn't matter. You're going to have instant access to this equity. I was like, who needs cash? I'm smarter than this. Cash doesn't pay anything right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage of this home equity, this 6 figures. I'll keep my money working for me, earning more than what cash is paying. And then if I ever get stuck in a bind, I'll just go pull it off this home equity line. I'll be okay. What could go wrong? Well, you guys know the rest of the story. And we should have had FTE Daniel pull those slides we did when we did Financial Mistakes Show. I got a letter from Wachovia at the time. It became Wells Fargo. But they sent me a letter saying, hey, you know that equity that we told you had access to? Just kidding. Our fancy-dancy computer algorithm has told us your property is not worth anything anymore, so we're shutting it down. So I got that letter, and you can imagine I felt very naked.
Sure.
Because we're right now in a crisis, and I'm like, where's all my liquidity? I'm running a company. Where's the liquidity going to come from? And that's what I remind people. Downturns don't just happen one at a time. You will likely experience negative things and a bunch of stuff at once. The housing market will go through a crisis. You'll lose your home equity line. Your stock portfolio will go down. You might lose your job at the same time. All these things will happen all at once. You better be prepared, so understand the value of having cash.
Yeah, if you are someone who's recognizing that you are lean, you should begin thinking about not necessarily selling assets and liquidating to try to shore it up, but you might have to do the uncomfortable thing of paring back your savings until you get your cash reserves built up to that appropriate level, because emergency funds are there for emergencies. And the thing that almost every emergency has in common is that you didn't know it was coming. That's the thing that makes it an emergency. That's why you got to have it there.
So internalize what you're going through right now and do like I did in 2008. Promise yourself the next time you come into a crazy situation like we're currently facing, you'll have cash. You'll have liquidity.
Yep.
So that leads to number 2. Review your risk tolerance and risk capacity. A lot of you guys, here's the thing. I've been managing money for people so long that I have now come to spot the people that think that they're cowboys, but they're not even Tonto. They're not even the cook that's cooking the beans in the cowboy camp. I mean, they are scared because I'll give you a perfect case study. 2003, I got a brand new client, January 2003, and that's an important date because there was a downturn, .com bubble from 2000 all the way to about November of 2002. So I get this brand new client, 2003, scared to death of investing because we just came through the .com. So I set them up a very moderate portfolio. And it much more complicated than this, but for just illustration, it was like a 60-40 type portfolio. Well, then we have 2003 where the market made it was 30%.
Yeah, right
it was a great year. And I can still remember that 1 year client meeting, and the client was like, man, we did great, but did you see what the S&P 500 did last year? I want some of that. And I was like, no, you don't. You forget. You came in here scared to death. Yep. You were a scared little person. The problem is we've had a market from 2009, the March of 2009 recovery, all the way through here in the beginning of 2020. It's been a bull market. We have, in that decade of up making money, I think have forgotten hey, this thing can give it back
That's
in
right.
a short period of time. So a lot of you have lost what is risk tolerance versus risk capacity. So let me explain these things to you, because we do have downturns. This is pruning the behavioral aspect. Risk tolerance, that's that when people ask you questions of, how do you react when the market's down 20%? Do you buy more? Do you stay pat? Or do you sell everything? They're trying to figure out what your internal capacity to understand risk is.
Sure.
Bo, explain to them what risk capacity is.
Risk capacity is based on your unique financial circumstance. How much risk can your portfolio withstand? Meaning, if you're living off of these assets or you're getting close to retirement, you might not have enough time for the markets to recover so that you can get back to the standard of living you are accustomed to. So tolerance is how you feel about risk. Capacity is how much you can or should actually take.
Yeah, the big thing is, I know a lot of you, there's some 75-year-olds that maybe you are a business owner, you are an entrepreneur. You could have the risk tolerance of a young lion. I mean, you could be ready to conquer the world. But once you're in your mid-70s, you don't need to be taking the same risk as a 20-year-old. Even if you have the ability to tolerate it, it's a bad move because of exactly what Bo said. You don't have the years to recover, so take that into account. Review. Right now, you're probably, if you got way out ahead of your skis on your risk, because I get it. I talk to clients and I talk to friends all the time. You're like, cash pays nothing. I don't want to have my money in cash. I don't want to have it in bonds. Bonds are horrible. I need to have it in equity so I at least make something. Remember, there is this neighbor that pops in from time to time to collect his pound of flesh, which is volatility. Mm-hmm. And we are experiencing that right now. So bundle up what you're experiencing and see if you got the risk tolerance and risk capacity right as you go forward.
Here's a real easy gut check. If you're losing sleep right now because of your portfolio and it's really causing you distress and it's actually eating in to the joy and happiness you feel in your everyday life, you might not have your risks right in the portfolio.
Yeah, so get that right. Don't react while you're in the middle of a crisis. Get it right while you're part of the sound mind plan. While things are reasonable, you can process everything. Number 3, asset allocation and reflect on your why. Mm-hmm. This one really ties in nicely to the risk part, because there is a point where I think people say, well, gosh, why would you ever want to have bonds in your portfolio? Why would you ever do this? I want to, there's a lot of research out there that shows that you should always, especially if you go out to the fire boards out there, the Financial Independent Retire Early, they've done a lot of research where they say a 70-30 portfolio or an 80-20 portfolio, meaning 70% risk assets, 30% non-risk. That might be better than the traditional 60-40 or even a 50-50 as you get older.
Sure.
Yes, there's a lot of research out there. Sure, the more risk you take with the S&P 500, probably the greater rate of return you'll have historically. There's one big fallacy to a lot of that research or those data points. It's not even really research. It's more of data harvesting the points, is that we are behavioral herd animals. Mm-hmm. And you better make sure you have your risk profile right, the asset allocation right, because it does need to reflect your why. If you're somebody who's won the game, the financial game of life, why should you be in such heavy risk assets and jeopardizing your success if you've already won the game?
Yeah, I think that's great. One of the questions that we use sometimes to kind of help clients figure this out and think about it, said, okay, if you had $100 million tomorrow, what would you do with it?
Yeah.
Right? Because we say, what is your risk capacity? And there's generally two answers. Oh, well, I could just put it in a coffee can in the backyard and I would never need to invest and I'd be fine. It's a true statement. The other thing is I could invest in the most aggressive things I could possibly come up with, because even if I lost 90% of it, I still got $10 million. Neither of those answers is wrong, but it's very much individualized to the person. So you have to, just like you said, understand your why and make sure that your portfolio reflects what the why is.
Oh, so powerful. Here's one. This is kind of touchy-feely, but I think it's so powerful. Right now, number 4 is there something you've missed during this quarantine or during this downturn? I'll tell you, my wife, she looked at me the other night and she goes, I'm so ready to just go out to eat again. Because you just can't, we take for granted when you're going through a crisis where you're in lockdown, you're not allowed to really go anywhere. It's the simple things. It's going and visiting, neighbors. Mm-hmm. It's the ability to go visit your relatives, especially the ones that are over 70 years of age. It's going out to eat. There's a lot of things that I think now that we're separated from it, we realize how much we appreciate it and how much we miss it. So use this crisis, use this downturn to think about the things that you miss and then figure out when we come out of this, can you do more of those things that bring you fulfillment and happiness?
I love it. That's perfect.
It goes back. I mean, I can't help myself because baseball games, concerts, there's so many things that we've canceled that we just
go
miss
into
out.
a movie.
Yeah.
How fun would it be to go see a movie right now?
It seems crazy while we're in this whole thing. It shows just how odd this time of life is. Number 5, this is kind of the last part that I want to close with, and I've used this on a few shows, but I think it is so worth repeating. As a matter of fact, we had a team meeting, and Bo, you and I started working together in 2008.
That's right.
And I told you in 2008 because that's when the Great Recession started, and I said, Bo, this is powerful. This is everything you're experiencing right now. Every one of these fearful client calls you're hearing me deal with, handle it. What's fun for me is fast forward. Now you're a seasoned financial advisor, and we have our team meeting with all of our associates and other lead financial advisors here, and I kind of hear you giving the same advice to them: is that bottle this up. You are getting an education here that is worth so much.
Yeah, I think what's amazing is I've had, again, just tons of calls with clients, talking with 401k providers, and I'm just not freaking out. I'm just not like overwhelmed right now. And I think the reason is because I've been here before. I've done this before. I've experienced this before. The Great Recession taught us that. So if you're in this and you just recognize, man, either one, I don't like the way this feels and I want to change it, or man, I have some uncertainty, how do I approach this, or whatever the thing may be, bottle it up, because this thing right now, however you handle this, will prepare you for the next time we'll see this, because we'll see it again.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the last major crisis, major economic event that we're going to go through. The better you can weather this, the better prepared you'll be to weather the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one.
Well, you'll see. Fast forward a year, 18 months, whatever it takes, we will come out of this, and financially we'll all be rewarded. I want you to look back, think about, did you handle this well? Would your older self be proud of you and the way you handled this? Or they look at you like you had a chicken with your head cut off and be like, oh my God, they did not handle that crisis well at all. Yep. I mean, these are the things. You need to use this as a teachable moment. Wisdom comes from experience, guys, and there's so much opportunity in these downturns that you do get to test those asset allocations. You get to see what's your mettle on how you handle buying more or staying the course with your 401ks and your other systematic savings plans. This is going to be where it is, and it leads to a graduation point. If you do this right, and I love this because I asked Daniel, and he blew my mind on how good. I said, if you do this right, you will graduate. You'll almost have a diploma that you can hang on the wall that you graduated from the School of Hard Knocks.
And so Brian said this, and of course, FTED came up with a School of Hard Knocks diploma, bequeathing to you as a seasoned investor your official recognition that you made it through it. Although there's a typo I see on here. It says one president and then one vice president.
Oh, it does. I thought it should have said assistant to the president. Kind
assistant
of a Dwight type reference there. But it is. Daniel even went so far as to put a seal on here. If you actually could see that seal on the screen, it is that detailed. But it is true. I mean, we say this in jest, we say this in fun. But guys, you are going through a moment in your life that if you do it well, learn well from it, it will serve you for the rest of your life. This could be some of the most powerful things and skills that you can develop in your seasoned investor financial mastery toolbox. So take advantage of it. And Bose, this ties into, we have some great deliverables on our website.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to go out to the Money Guy website, you can go to moneyguy.com and click on our resource page. And one of the resources we have out there right now is 5 ways that you can deal with investment uncertainty. You can go out there, download this. It's 100% free. Feel free to take it, print it, put it on your bathroom mirror, email it to your friends. When you're allowed to go back to work, take it to work, pass it out to your colleagues. This is one of the things you can use to help you stay sound and pragmatic and level-headed. And we know that those who can remain calm and level-headed and pragmatic through these crazy times are the ones that likely come out of it much stronger because of it.
Well, we've been doing some unique things. We have our live Q&A shows that we're almost doing. Well, we are doing them weekly now. We've got these deliverables. People are probably who are brand new. We're getting new people all the time, and they're like, wow, these guys are just giving it away. This is some of the best content I'm seeing out there. How can they afford to do this? Guys, this is all part of the abundance cycle. We want you to come learn, apply, and grow your own personal finances. There's no ask whatsoever. We give this to you as a value add because we think if we pay it forward, good things will happen. There is the only ask and the only catch is that you will reach a level of success at some point if you do this right. That you're going to say, man, my processes, my personal finances have reached a level of success that I can't do this on my own. Yep. I'm scared. I don't know what I don't know, or I'm worried about my loved one who, he or she doesn't think about money like I do. I need to make sure they have some backup plan protections. Sure. That's when the abundance cycle kicks in. We work with clients all across the country, and we want you to think about Abound Wealth, the Money Guy team. The abundance cycle has never served us wrong. That's how we can continue to give away free information since 2006. And we're going to continue to be your resource. This thing is moving fast. There's lots of teachable skills, but there's also lots of scary things going on out there. Keep tuning in. We'll keep delivering, going beyond common sense. And we just love this. We love what you do. We love the comments. We love the emails. We love that you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. Just keep it going, and we're going to keep generating content. Money Guy team, out.